Or is your meeting?
Morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Off camera, commuting in the car, my usual routine on Wednesday mornings.
Morning, everyone.
Good morning, everyone. We're going to get started. Thanks for joining us. Engineering, Public Works, and Planning Committee meeting. Now we have a couple of guests on. You're not a guest, Patrick. You're there. Let's see. Mindy and let's see, by Sochima.
Yes.
Okay. I don't know if either of you wanted to make some statements during the public comment period.
That would be great. Thank you.
Yeah. Same.
So, Mindy, you want to go first?
Sure. Firstly, thanks for including me on this meeting. I really do appreciate that. And Vic, thank you for responding to my email. My name is Mindy Farron. I live at 10 Parker, right across the street from the high school. I've been here for about 5 years. I'm a single mother with two grown children. So we're a three-car family, and we have a single lane driveway. I never thought it really was terrific to have that because it's always been with three drivers and three workers. We've always had to shuffle the cars in and out. But that's what we have. So, I understand the benefits of the bike lane and I understand that we're going forward with it. I'm really here today to please ask for some consideration regarding the location of the bollards. Thank you. Yeah, that's my house with three cars in front. Um, we do use the front just to shuffle the cars. We're used to not parking in front because of the school rules. Even though we do take advantage of the benefit at night and on the weekends of parking on the street. But I really don't know what we will do if there's bollards in front of our street and we can't use that area for 30-second shifts of cars. I really don't know what we'll do. So if you have any flexibility with the location of the bollards, if you could keep me in mind, I would greatly appreciate it. Or if you have any, I'm up for any hearing other ideas, but I don't know how we're going to do it if we have bollards in front of the house. So thank you for listening and thank you for your consideration.
Mindy, it looks like many of your neighbors also have single driveways.
They don't actually.
No,
They
okay.
when for both of the houses on both sides of me, when you drive further in, they widen up.
Okay.
So both of my neighbors have room to turn their cars around just farther behind the house, whereas mine does not.
Paul, I know when we talked about the bollards, we talked about having them on both sides there in front of the high school. The one thing that this does conflict with is our commitment to other parts of Parker that people would have access to the fronts of their house for deliveries, for incidental stopping, things like that. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, I have a couple thoughts. I think, first of all, the bollards were implemented to prevent people from dropping off children and double parking, right? Which is a serious safety issue. So that was the intent of that. We could consider more enforcement. We can consider other means of making sure that happens properly, that people are not double parking, but the bollards are an important part of the design. I do think there is some flexibility in terms of where we place them. I think there is some flexibility to make sure they don't conflict, for example, with driveways, right? We can maneuver them. And my recommendation is at the beginning of the school year, we're gonna simulate the bollards, I think, with construction cones. So maybe we put out the cones in a logical way, and you could consider, how that works. We could evaluate how that works and be flexible with it. All right. That would be my recommendation.
Yeah, so Mindy, as Paul said, the bollards, we're still a month or two away from doing the installation, but in the meantime, we plan to use those orange cones or some kind of cones. And we can see how it goes and whether we want to make a change, as we go forward with whether we install the bollards or maybe just leave the cones on that side. We can have that discussion as we go forward.
Okay. No, I'm glad to hear that it's not, set in stone. And yeah, I appreciate that. And I'm happy to, provide feedback, once you set the cones up. That would be wonderful.
So Paul, I'm correct, right? We're still a bit away from issuing any contracts or doing any work, right?
The only work, yes, you're correct. The only work we're doing is CDBG, and we're reconstructing the ramps, and we may be setting the footings for the rapid flashing beacons at North Terrace in Kensington.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, we're still a bit away. So, but we're going to be talking a little later about putting cones out there before school starts so that people see them and get used to them. So you'll see cones out there soon, I think.
Okay. All
Okay.
right. Thank you
We'll
for the
keep in
feedback.
touch with you and we'll keep the dialogue going. I'll make sure that Paul has your contact information. I don't know if we have your phone number, but I'll send you Paul's contact so that you can speak directly with Paul.
Terrific. Thank you so much.
Okay. Okay. So Chima,
Hi, good morning, everyone.
good morning.
My name is Sochima Diala. I live on 19 Boyden Parkway. Um, I was in the previous town hall committee and I was calling in regards to the overnight parking ordinance. I know that we're not allowed to park in between those times of 2 to 6. and there is a call system that you can utilize to call your car in if you need to park on the street. But I have been getting a lot of pushback from that. I do work overnights, so sometimes I can come in between those hours. And I know you guys have allowed parking in some of the designated lots. But like I was saying before, I don't really feel comfortable walking home from those lots during those times. So I was trying to see if there's a way that I could probably get a permit to park on the street just because I do live in a two-family house and everyone's schedule is different. Everyone owns a car, so sometimes it's difficult to just navigate our schedules or make them align. Sometimes I come back too late. I only get like 2, 3 hours of sleep. Then I have to move my car for someone who's leaving the house at 6 a.m., which is really inconvenient. Or sometimes when the neighbor parks and she could come back at like 5, she just parks her car. And it's like, what if I have to run an errand or what if I have to go out after that? I would have to now bother her to move her car. So it's a lot of schedule clashes. So I was just wondering if there's a way if I could just park in front of my house to just limit the inconvenience of my neighbors and just walking home from that time at night.
Um,
Paul,
Mayor, you want to jump in here?
yeah, just for a second. Hi, Sochi.
Hi.
Paul, have the lights, the 6 lights in Maple Crest Park been repaired?
I know that an order was placed with Volt Electric to actually have the repairs made. I don't know if the work was completed as of yet, but I know that the work has been initiated.
Okay, so what's the timeline on that?
It shouldn't be long. I think some of the lights actually had to be replaced, so that may be a longer lead time. I'll verify the timing of that. It's not going to be long.
Okay, and then so Soch and I met in my office a few weeks back after she came to the township committee meeting to talk about this and try to figure out solutions. And that's why I was referring to the lighting, because we know she can park overnight at the lot by Maple Crest Park on Springfield Avenue. But that walk through the park right now is dark and feels dangerous. So I don't know if you would feel safer once the lights are fixed. I would hope so, but if that's not a solution, then I'll ask Mr. DeLuca and Ms. Engel what they think of a parking permit for you, because it's something we don't typically do unless it's a handicap. So I'll defer to my colleagues on that part.
Okay, thank you. And thank you for everyone's efforts in regards to the light and the pathway. I do understand that lighting is supposed to make it safer, but I personally just don't like the idea of walking so late at night, whether there's light or not. It's a safety concern for myself and my family also doesn't agree with it. So that's why I was just asking if there's a way to get a permit. I know a lot of people in Maplewood complain about the overnight ordinance. I know it could be a big ask or it comes with a lot of issues in terms of completely getting rid of it, but I also feel like you guys should consider at least like two-family houses. There could be multiple people living in the house with multiple cars, and if you just have a one-way straight driveway, it is very inconvenient. Like people do go late to work. People have to take Ubers instead because they can't leave their house because they're blocked in and they don't want to bother other people, which now causes conflict. So it's so much easier to just park in front of my house. Like I feel like I live on a dead end. I don't really know the issues that's tied into it, but if you guys can consider it, I will deeply appreciate it.
Uh, Committeewoman Engel, you have experience there, and you have your hand up.
I do. I'm very empathetic to this issue. Mr. DeLuca knows because even before I was on town council, we were talking about it. I used to live on Boyden Parkway South in a 3-family home. I got locked in multiple times. I used to park on the street and just risk getting tickets. It's really a hardship to a lot of families who can't move around. And I was hoping Mr. DeLuca could reiterate, like, I understand the safety reasons of why we don't allow overnight parking, but I like the permit idea. And I'm curious, like, how, if that's a possibility that we can implement like a hardship permitting or some kind of situation, because it's really, really hard. And I totally agree about walking from the lot at Maple Crest Park. I would never feel safe doing that. And so I just am in supportive of figuring out a permit for Sochima, and also maybe like a policy change.
Thanks. Someone who raised their hand with his iPhone.
Hi, hold on a minute. Uh-oh, I can't seem to get my camera. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay, this is Carmen Morales. I'm on Parker Avenue. I hope everyone had a good summer. I'd like to ask, well, one is a recommendation, the others are questions, and I'll make this quick. Considering the work done by the committee and its impact on Maplewood constituents, please consider adding an agenda in advance so that we can see items of discussion that will impact us. Currently, we have to sit through a long meeting to know what will be discussed. I have searched the website. I cannot seem to find any agenda for the engineering committee. So I would like you to consider that. And in light of the recent decision by the Township Committee to allow bike lanes on Parker Avenue, will sharrows be placed all along the avenue to alert motorists that they will be sharing the road during certain times of the year when parking is allowed on the street? Parker Avenue is traveled by many who do not live in this town and should be alerted to the rules. My third is similar to the suspension of parking rules in New York City during major federal and religious holidays. And in light of Maplewood's multicultural and religious diversity, will the town consider implementing a Parker Avenue bike lane suspension calendar that will respect and accommodate these religious and cultural observances? And if you can just, if I can get some feedback during the public comment, that would be great.
So just on the Sharrows, Paul, the bike lanes will have a bike stencil, correct?
Yes, they have a bike symbol that's it has a green background. It's an enhanced symbol, and it's very visible.
And
But
they'll
is it,
also have.
but is it
also
on the
be signed.
street? I'm
Yes,
sorry,
it's
but is
on
it
the
on,
street. It's
oh.
on the, it's in the bike lane.
but will it be on the travel lane, like similar to the lower part of
No,
Parker?
no, you don't do both. Sharrows mean you can share the road. We're not sharing a road. We're creating a designated bike lane.
Okay.
On the Parker Avenue bike lane calendar, we did give the part of the deal is that the police can close the bike lanes or allow parking in the bike lanes, and then bikers would have to use the lanes at their risk. We can think about a calendar. We haven't thought about that. We can think about that.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Anyone else? Just going back on the overnight parking, you know, this is a huge conversation, and the police weigh in all the time that there's a public safety concern. Certainly, DPW feels it allows them to maneuver during snow plowing and leaf pickup, things like that. So, and it's just not, you know, unfortunately, there's a lot of individual cases. We've heard things on Evelyn Court and other places, and we have to look at this as a town-wide issue. And you know, we'll continue to have that conversation. Hopefully, the lights will get put in, and we'll see what it looks like in Maple Crest. But we'll continue to have the conversation. But it is a big conversation, just so everyone knows.
Can I just chime in one last time? So sorry. Um, I know in terms of like if it snows or there's weather or something like that, I understand we're not supposed to park on the street. They tell us that all the time. That's fine. Um, but just like in general, like, and I feel like every time I come to the meetings, it's always like, you know, we're gonna figure it out. It's a long scenario. We're gonna do it because now after this meeting, what am I supposed to do moving forward? Am I just supposed to keep coming to the meetings and complaining about the same thing? Like, can I get petitions signed? Like, what is it that I really need to do in order to like push it forward or like see some sort of change? Because I just kind of feel like it's kind of like circling and it's not gonna really get solved. So I'm not really sure what to do after this meeting.
Yeah, so it's a big issue. It's a big issue. And it's, we're not the only municipality that's trying to figure this out. And I understand that it is a major problem for you, and there are some others, and we're trying to figure out how to, if we're going to make it, if no one's agreed to make any changes yet, if we do make changes, how do we do it in a way that satisfies some of the public safety concerns? Right now, the police feel that it improves their ability to police the streets by not having cars there overnight. They get better views. They could see if cars are supposed to be there, not supposed to be there. It's they're pretty strong in their opinions. There's also issues of parking and neighbors. Does that mean that you can park your car in front of your neighbor's house all 24 hours? What impact do you have there? We get a lot of complaints from people about having cars parked in front of their house all the time. So there's a lot to balance here, and we haven't figured it out yet. We did open up the public lots to allow that to happen, to try to relieve some of that, but we just haven't figured it out yet. And so, we it's not that we're ignoring you, it's just that it's a big problem that has to get sorted out.
So
Okay.
Vic,
Oh, I'm sorry. Did someone want to speak?
no, that's okay. You can finish first, Sochi.
Okay. No, I understand, and I don't know. I feel like I have solutions for you guys' problems. I really do. I feel like there's a lot of things that can be implemented to make it easier and for everyone to, in a sense, be happy. Um, I don't know if I have to join the committee myself, but that's something I'm willing to do because I do have a lot of ideas that I feel like would make sense. I have friends that also live in Maplewood. We've observed a lot of things that we can also say, and to kind of like solidify our point and our standpoint on, kind of why the ordinance should be lifted. So that's kind of why I'm saying, like, what do I do from here moving forward? Because I don't want to keep going back and forth.
I think you should come to the public safety meeting tonight, which is at 7:30 p.m. on Zoom. And so that
Okay.
there's a public comment portion there as well. And then you can speak up there as well. Because I agree with you. And I agree with I understand the frustration of how do you move it forward, and not understanding how it works. So I think if you come to that meeting and Mr. DeLuca, maybe we can add it to the agenda of that meeting as well.
Okay. You said 7:30 p.m. Is it in town hall or
No,
just
it's
on
on
Zoom?
Zoom. It's on Zoom. If you go onto the township website, the link is there
Okay. No problem.
in the calendar. Dean, you
Okay.
want to just jump in?
Yeah, I mean, I just want to lend my support for finding a solution here. I really empathize with this as well. And while I also respect and appreciate our public safety officials' position on this, I do think there is a workable solution. We just can we just pledge to create a working group maybe and sit down with some of the residents like Sochi and others who have come before us multiple times already now to they even have some ideas themselves and maybe look at this holistically across town wherever we have our multifamily zones in particular and find a path through. I think we can. I don't think that we can just. It is a tough thing to do. It is in light of everything that's been brought up, but I think there is a workable solution. And storms and snow removal and leaf removal and all that kind of stuff can still be done and have a solution in place. So I hope that we're all walking away from this time that this has been raised again with a pledge to actually sit down and find a path through. That's all.
Okay. Who else would like to speak from the public? I see Jonathan is here. There was two Jonathans. Well, Lums. Let's listen to Lums.
Let's listen to Lums.
Let's listen to Lums. That's your new logo.
That's yeah. Good morning. I know I've sent a few hot emails, and I don't want to be known as the person who's just sending these emails, but it is really frustrating as a business owner, as a property owner. I'm in my store most days. The Springfield Avenue construction continues to hinder business, and in talks that I have had with other business owners, everyone who I have spoken to on the avenue is pretty fed up with the way that things are going. And I know that I voiced complaints a month ago, and I appreciate that the bricks were moved. But now it's another set of double work that's happening as I'm seeing the ramps to driveways going back in at 7-Eleven and across the street from me at the Dollar Tree parking lot. Those aren't the right bricks. So those bricks are going to have to be replaced. If we left those bricks out for weeks already, I don't understand why we are doing double work there. The communication, which is what I asked for a month ago on accurate closures and updates to work that's being done on our blocks. I had two events Friday, and they're cutting bricks out front of my store. My storefront was blocked for 10 hours. I was not made aware of that. And in talks with Dave, I know that announcements have been given to businesses, and you guys are taking pictures of those. I would love to see all of the announcements that have come to my business, because we're not getting them. The information flow is not there. And I understand from an email from Paul that this is estimated to be a 120-day project. We have 10 days left. I don't see this being done in the next month. I don't see how the curbs are going to be replaced. You guys have all seen the schedule that they are anticipating to replace, or repair rather, the patches that American Water made 30 of those today. There is no chance that 30 of those gets done today. I think we all can agree that that is not going to happen, which means that those patches are going to be stretched out over the next week or two. We have weather today, so I trust that will impact things as well. It's dragging out, and nothing seems to be coordinated. And it's really challenging in the current political climate, where we are faced with challenges of tariffs, to have other challenges like black holes in the sidewalk in front of our stores that have been there for months, and it's supposed to be repaired, and it's a trip hazard, and all of these things. It just doesn't seem like things are progressing. And I know that last month we said that paving would be happening this week, and I don't see that happening.
Okay. Nicole, did you want to say anything?
I was just asking Nancy if I was public or waiting, but I can comment now. Yes, so part of me wants to look forward, but I also want to reiterate what Jonathan is saying, looking backwards, that, I've also talked to multiple businesses. I do worry this is impacting both, the businesses' view of the township, the business's view of Sam, the desire to be here. I know several businesses have reported their worst July ever due to all the construction work, and some to the point where they're really struggling. I've personally talked to dozens and dozens of business, but I think that's known. And so part of what I'd like to do is also be forward looking, because I think my concerns are a few things. I'm worried about, the return of American Water. I know they're now not coming today, but we're going to be back to having two contractors. Yes, Jonathan, on the road. I'm still unclear how American Water is going to work and how much they're going to block off. I've tried to say again and again, I don't want that many. You can't just take off, blocks and blocks and blocks of parking in anticipation of doing certain work. But again, I felt like in the past I had an idea of how American Water is working. I don't feel like I really understand what it's going to look like on the ground. And they're starting next week when I'm on vacation. So I won't be here to personally get involved or advocate. I'm also concerned, I get updates, which I send to the businesses, and then I get sort of micro updates and changes throughout the week. It's great that somebody's reporting every day, but I can't communicate to businesses every single day about micro updates, or this is actually, we're going to do this. I have over 100 plus people to email. I can only send them from my computer. I can't send them from my phone. And businesses aren't going to look at an email every day with like a micro change. Actually, we're going to do this and not that. It's just not an effective way to communicate. And so I get that sometimes there's changes on the ground, but I don't really have a way to communicate that. I try to send my emails every Friday or Saturday for the next coming week, and I can't. It's just not productive to try to then. Actually, they're going to do this tomorrow. Actually, they're going to do that tomorrow. And so, you know, I don't know how to square that, but communicating so the last minute or daily changes is not really effective for me or possible. And so those are some of the concerns I have going forward. I would say the number one concern is sort of the return of American Water and having two contractors on the road at one time, and then obviously moving into the paving of the road, which may even just be easier because we can just announce it's from here to here and this is closed, and it will be hard, but at least businesses will know in advance. I do request we know that paving schedule as far in advance as possible. Like, I don't want to send it out Friday for Monday, for example. That's not enough notice. So those are my requests going forward for really understanding what it's going to be like on the ground. Sometimes in Jonathan's case, I knew they were working on the driveway at 7-Eleven. Fine. I did not know that that meant parking all along that area was going to be taken up and parking. In fact, I had a customer of Jonathan's call me and be like, oh my God, where can I park? And I was like, oh, go here, not to lose him, the client. So, it was sort of unknown to me that driveway work would involve closing parking in a much further area. So I just,
Okay,
the contractors sort of give me addresses and that's it.
okay. I want to ask the mayor to jump in because you had an experience Saturday, and then I'm going to have Paul respond.
Yeah, I did. I just think the township is failing really badly on on these two projects as far as oversight. We have 3 members of engineering in the engineering department. And during this, I think there needs to be somebody on the street every single day, every hour of construction to deal with these on-site issues, to be the common sense person to tell the contractor, you're putting the wrong bricks in there, or you need to, like the experience I had on Saturday, which I emailed police. We have several departments who could be overseeing this. Police needs to do better in making sure that no parking signs are removed when there's no construction going on. Having me going out there in the middle of the street on a Saturday morning and pulling off cones and no parking signs is ridiculous. We have several departments who should be looking at this every single day, every morning, every afternoon, every evening at the end of construction. I get the reasons. I've been in Nicole's situation. I've managed districts with public improvement projects, but the communication to the businesses is 100% the number one thing. And when there's a last change, somebody from engineering needs to go into that business and tell them what's going on. And then somebody needs to monitor the work that's going on that day. If there's a construction manager, project manager on site, that person needs to be doing better. And it would have been nice if this was coordinated better, and I get it, it's a public utility and we can barely tell them what to do ever. But it seems that the whole avenue is ripped up. It's 2 miles long. If this had been done in sections and more organized, maybe this wouldn't have been such an impact. But instead of being an impact for a short amount of time, working all at once in one section, it's impacting everybody for months all along the avenue. And I think we need to do better. I don't even want to hear why we're not doing better. We need to do better. I'd ask Pat to work with police and engineering, and you have a whole Department of Public Works who could be helping out. So that's my spiel, and I don't want to go on forever. Thanks.
Paul?
Mr. DeLuca, thank you. First of all, I want to thank everyone for their comments. This has been a serious challenge, just so we understand. This job is a $2 million job. And the New Jersey American Water job is probably, if I had to estimate, it's probably $1 to $2 million as well in size. So that's a combined project of $3 to $4 million. Just to give you perspective, our typical road program averages about $1 million. So it's equivalent to doing 3 to 4 road programs in one stretch of roadway. In terms of, Mayor, your comments, I think you brought up an issue that occurred on Saturday. I just want to let you know, we were not aware of that work occurring. Nobody informed us. It was a different contractor, a different subcontractor to the contractor who was working there doing specific work. And we were not made aware of this work. I already spoke to Amalia Farrow of DLS about this, how that's incredible that he did that, and he promised he wouldn't do that again. But in terms of the work Saturday, we were not made aware of that. The bricks, Mr. Sapensky, I think you asked about the bricks. So part of the problem we've had with this contractor is that they ordered the bricks late and the bricks took too much time to actually get delivered. So in order to keep his crews busy and to progress the project, so we're not working deep into the fall when school is in session, he started the concrete work and the concrete curbs. Yes, in the meantime, he put in some red brick to fill the gaps so it reduces any trip hazards or any hazards associated with gaps in the pavers. He's going back right now. He got a delivery today of the soldier cores and the DWS bricks that are necessary. As I understand it, it was delivered today. So that brickwork is going to be fitted back in, and it's actually going to go fairly quickly. In terms of timing, I think there's probably at least 3 weeks, if not 4 weeks, of paver work and brick work, and then we could pave. Now, we have a meeting scheduled next week to talk about paving. We're trying to minimize impacts to the merchants. Every day my staff comes in, we're trying to help the township every way we can. We're 100% dedicated in that. And we've never wavered from that for the 9.5 years I've been here. In terms of your event, Mr. Sapensky, it's unfortunate that they were working late and it intruded on the event. I apologize for that. They're trying to get the project done. And, sometimes there's some oversight. If it impacted your event, that was very unfortunate. It was never intended that way. In terms of communication, just to let everyone know, we did have Zoom meetings before the project even started. We've had VMS boards. We've done 1 week look ahead since the project started. We sent certified letters to businesses that have driveways that are impacted by brick pavers, and asking for them to contact us so we can coordinate the work more timely and more efficiently, so it impacts them less. And we've coordinated work for New Jersey American Water. I think everyone agrees replacing out the lead pipes and the galvanized pipes for health reasons is important. Unfortunately, it's a jagged pill, and that work had to be done. And we've also had many field meetings, and I appreciate, Nicole, all your time that you spent with us trying to work this out. But I think you'd agree we've made a significant effort to try to reduce impacts to merchants. So the way I see it, we have a meeting next week to schedule paving and to figure that out. I think there's probably realistically, to be safe with weather delays included, there's probably a month's worth of work left. And trust me, I recognize the impacts of the businesses. We asked for the project to start on one end and work their way out towards the other end, so it minimizes impacts. That's a request we made, but that also borders on means and methods of construction. So we're somewhat limited in terms of what we can ask the contractor to do. And frankly, he didn't have the bricks. So, when we bid out projects, we're not picking necessarily the best contractor or the contractor we want. We work in the public forum where we publicly advertise projects and we select the low bidder. And guess what? That's not always the best contractor. So, this contractor, typically does acceptable work, but are they our first choice? No, they're not a first choice. In terms of managing this, I think there are things that we can do better. Mayor, I liked your idea of knocking on doors, and we've done that, by the way. We've been on site. I've had Scott Redmond on site every day. We also have, by the way, a third party, French and Perillo, overseeing the construction work. So it's not like we're sitting behind our desks and just, taking phone calls and, answering emails. We've been out there daily and we've been overseeing this. And trust me, had we not done that, it would have been far worse. So I hear everyone's comments. I think there is room for us to improve this. I think the advanced noticing is something we will strengthen. We've made tremendous strides in doing that from the inception of this job. And, I'll continue to work with Nicole on this. I appreciate everyone's comments. It's not something that, we wish it could have gone smoother. But, the contractor didn't even have the bricks until today, the proper bricks for the soldier course and the DWS, which is the handicap ramps. So I do anticipate the work happening fairly quickly. New Jersey American Water, they have a contractor demo, which is starting on Monday. And, the good thing about that is that most of the impact is closer to the curb by the street. They're not going to have to shut down the street. Unfortunately, that was terrible when they had to shut down Springfield Avenue. A lot of the businesses took a heavy hit. I understand that. That wasn't our doing. That was New Jersey American Water. So it's unfortunate it happened, but I think everyone would agree it's necessary to replace out the lead lines. It's also mandated by the BPU.
So, Vic, you're muted.
Okay. Paul, thank you. Jonathan, I know you have your hand up, but I just don't want to go back and forth. Paul, you said 3 or 4 more weeks. You said New Jersey American Water is coming in. Tell us the go forward. How are we going to manage this differently for the 3 or 4 weeks left?
Well, I'll tell you one difference. So New Jersey American Water, one of the things we asked for was a very specific list, which Nicole and I have honed down in terms of actual addresses. So we have a daily schedule with addresses that are going to get impacted. So that's one thing that we have. And I know, Nicole, you're reaching out to some of those merchants and informing them of this work. I think the work's going to go faster than what we've currently seen from our contractor because it's very limited in size. They're 3 by 3 foot in general patches that have to get repaired. So, the merchants are being notified. We have a daily schedule from New Jersey American Water, and we're going to stay on top of them.
But we were notified that those were happening today. That was the last communication that we got, and then I find out 2 minutes ago that that's not happening.
That's on me. I was waiting
this
to
communication.
confirm.
That was my first ask in my email more than a month ago. Was communication to us, and frankly, Nicole, I will take daily emails because when the number of complaining customers that I'm fielding, and my concern is just people are being driven away from the avenue, and I have no information, and it just sounds like a bitching session. But I'm finding out my business opens in an hour that construction is actually not happening today, that it's another week pushed out. And I know that's not on you because it was American Water. And as Nancy said, we have zero control over these things, but it's 9 a.m. day up and we're not receiving that information.
I understand.
Sorry, I don't need to go back and forth, but it's really.
No, we get it. We get it,
I
Jonathan.
understand.
All right, Paul, continue.
So we have the addresses in terms of New Jersey American Water. They're going to do a fairly high volume amount of work in a fairly short period of time. I think their work is going to be completed within the 2 to 3 weeks. So while they're completing the patchwork by the curb, our contractor is going to be finalizing the install of the final soldier course in DWS bricks. They're going to go in simultaneously. That's why I said 3 to 4 weeks. That's realistic in terms of paving. The contractor actually floated out the schedule for milling the surface by the end of the month. And you know something? I don't want to do that. I don't want to mill the road and pave it and still be doing concrete work and getting concrete all over our new road. So I'd rather complete the work, have it done the right way, and then we'll pave it when it's ready.
Deborah?
Well, I just have a question about the 3 to 4 week timeline and all the work. Is it going to affect school, people getting to school, walking patterns, driving patterns? Because Cindy's and the PD are working on communications right now. So I think if the Springfield Avenue construction is going to affect how people are going to get to school, crossing guards, that we should have that information to go out in the communication.
I agree with you, Ms. Engel, and I think meeting with the police, with the paving meeting that we're scheduling for next week, I think that's important to bring up and discuss, and we will discuss it. Obviously, the next 2 weeks were clear in terms of work, but you know, after that, we have to deal with school children, and we would be very mindful of that. My hope is that we can get the main courses, the main school routes that are used, have them completed before then. That's the goal.
So before September 2nd.
In terms of the pavers, the paving is gonna impact the, you know, it's gonna be probably mid-September is what we're looking at.
So if we don't know, I think we're planning on putting out communications like ASAP about school. And so I'm just wondering if there should be a line, if we're not sure, you know, if there should be a line, watch for updates about spring. I don't know. I just feel like maybe you and Pat and Cindy can talk about this a little bit before we put out that call.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to move along here. So, Nicole, you're going to be away next week. So how are we going to communicate with your merchants?
I will send my email on Friday, like I always do, which will be the information I have as of Friday. But I will not be, and I'll obviously have an out of office memo, but I won't be able to update during the week.
So, Paul, knowing that next week we're going to have more people on the ground, letting people know what's going on. If things break down, weather happens, things get pushed, we can't rely on on Nicole to be our go-between there because she's not going to be around. So that means that you guys are going to have to start knocking on doors and stuff.
That's fine.
Nicole, can we email
Go
to
ahead.
that list?
Say that again, Patrick.
Can we email to Nicole's list directly with updates? Usually she's the best for next week. We don't mind emailing directly with updates. We would just need those emails.
Yeah.
I can send you all the emails. I just worry. Like I know psychologically, if you get daily changes as a business owner, you're going to start ignoring every email.
That's fine. If that's her preference, that's fine.
So, let me think about it. I know people will just start ignoring everything that's sent. So I think if it's a major change, yes. But I think these micro changes often affect 1 or 2 or 3 addresses, and I prefer that gets done on an individual basis with those business owners. So I can send you the email list, but I think you should be judicious in using it.
Yeah, well, we'll do that. But, you know, it's possibly that we're going to have some remnants of a hurricane next week. So it might shut down things for a couple of days and we can let people know.
And that's also a given, Vic, that it's predicated on weather. So,
but weather can mean a lot to different, you know, it's hot, sunny. Okay. I know Russell and Susan are here about the scooters at the train station. Patrick, you were contacting, I think Mike over at NJ Transit. Any response from them?
Yeah, they said that all of those covered bicycle parking areas are leased up, which
Okay.
surprised me, but that's their answer. Yeah. So unfortunately, that's not an opportunity.
Okay. So, I don't remember how much space is there. Maybe Russell, you could tell us how much space is there. So until we solve this, can we temporarily mark off some space or cone off some space where people could put their scooters under there until we figure out what we're doing? I'm sorry, Paul, have you done any more work in identifying potential spots for this?
Honestly, Mr. DeLuca, I have not. I
Right,
know,
okay.
I know Mr. Berry has gone to South Orange and checked out their scooter parking, but I've not had the chance to dive into this. If we could table it, I'd appreciate that.
There's
right,
also
so-
scooter parking at the Short Hills train station as well. So if that could be looked at. I also have pictures of where I park, if I could share my screen, this way you can see.
Yeah, just hold on one second. Let's see if I can.
That's a
Yeah,
trip I
this is
took.
let me just get this bigger. Whoop. This is what you had shown us, is another example, Paul, of just, blocking out 1 or 2 parking spaces and having scooters parked that way. But these are not covered spaces, but it does, I guess these are scooters that you can chain to these.
You don't necessarily need to
You
change.
don't
You
need
just
to
need to
chain it,
park
okay.
them.
So I guess
they're
bikes
locked.
bikes can go there too, bicycles, right?
Well, right now that was scooters. I was in Europe, and that's what
Okay.
the scooters
Okay.
are all over the place in Europe. So
All right.
I took that as
And
a
you
picture.
wanted to share something, Russell?
Well, just to let everybody know, I've been parking at this train station for 6 years and received a ticket like 2 months ago, and without explanation. The police captain basically said he parked on the sidewalk. I kind of said didn't really agree with that. Um, uh, this is do you see those pictures?
Yes.
All right, so this is the parking at the train station on the town side of the train station. This is where I park. This is where several scooters park. 2 scooters along that wall, maybe another scooter in front of that bank of bicycles that you mentioned, and a couple, and at most 6 scooters, 5 scooters. Sometimes it's 1 scooter. It depends on the weather and how many people are commuting per day. This is a wide shot showing you basically on the town side of the train station where I'm parking. I don't deem this as the sidewalk. I mean, it makes it seem like I'm basically blocking people from walking. I'm not. And this is a tighter shot of that area. The bike lockers are to the left there. If they're not willing to get rid of the bike lockers, there's more bike parking on the left-hand side that I don't have in that picture, but they hardly ever get used. Those could be taken out, and those could be made into scooter parking. Also, to the right of the train station on the town side, there's spaces that could be designated for Vespas. Look, or scooters. I just don't want to start taking up a lot of spots in downtown and take up spaces for cars. One, I'm worried about by doing so, I don't think the cars would appreciate it too much. And the next thing I know, I'm going to come to my Vespa knocked over and say, like, what are you doing? I've already received, like, when I take a parking spot in town, like, people are going, what are you doing? You just park to the side. And I go, well, I'm going to get a ticket if I do. So if at all, something could be considered in the interim, where I can park back here again. I did it for 6 years without incident. And then, out of the blue, basically, I got a ticket because the police lieutenant basically said that he started an officer on patrol in town, and I looked at it as, he basically didn't have much to do besides ticket this time. Now, there's other Vespas. I'm not sure if they've contacted you in any way, but that's just my take on the whole situation.
So we have this on for the Public Safety Committee meeting tonight. And I think that, Mr. Kittner has not had, his office has not had a chance to really focus on this too much. So I think and we've heard from transit that, there's not a solution of removing those and creating something there. So I think what you've shown us is as a workaround, maybe until we get our act together. And we'll talk to the police chief tonight about it.
Okay. Should I attend that meeting as well, or?
You're certainly welcome if you got nothing else to do.
This meeting might still be going on by then, though.
Yeah, no, it won't be.
Sorry.
Patrick,
All right.
you agree with the workaround?
Yeah, I mean, if anything can be done, I
No,
appreciate
no,
your
not you,
time.
Russell, Patrick. I
Oh,
wanted to
yes.
get,
Okay.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
Agreed.
okay, all right. All right, so yeah, so Russell, I don't know if Susan wants to speak, but
No,
if
she
not,
was here in case I had to go. So,
Oh,
because
okay,
I'm at
okay.
work. So,
not for moral
But-
support, that too,
well,
probably.
that too.
Yes,
So
yes.
she's always got my back. So
There you go. She came to
All right,
the
well-
meeting for you, you're right.
I know, and I
All
appreciate
right,
it.
so
Thanks for your time.
we'll talk about it tonight and then we'll get back to you.
All right, thanks so much.
Thank you,
All right,
Russell.
thank you.
All right, bye-bye.
Anyone else from the public want to speak? We do have about a 3-hour agenda to go through, so. Okay. We're going to close the public comments and we are going to move into the Columbia High School drop-off. Paul, I'm going to put the map up. Here we are. Make it as big as possible. Here we go. Paul, you want to talk about this?
Yes, thank you, Mr. DeLuca. So this is probably the second or third iteration of our collaborative effort with South Orange and the high school in terms of the student drop-off. We've tried implementing input from everybody. And, you know, what we're looking at is really a prohibited drop off along the frontage of the high school. This is a handout that's going to go out to the parents. So that's marked in red, as you can see. But South Orange had comments and concerns about circulation of their streets, and certain streets they're shutting down, such as Hickson Place and Sherman Place. And other streets, well, Arnold, I believe, is already one way.
Yes.
But we tried demonstrating, you know, how parents can actually circulate the traffic flow around these streets. We also show the one-way designation for North Terrace and Kensington Terrace. So we show that circulation there. We also show, and it's coded in the drop-off location key where parents can actually drop off. So they're circled, right? So 4 and 6, for example, indicate Kensington and North Terrace, both sides between Crowell Place and Edgewood Place, and the west side between Parker Ave and Franklin Place for North Terrace. So you know, we're trying to give parents a simplified version of where they can drop their children off, and that's designated by the green areas. You know, same thing on key item number 2 by Valley Street. The east side, just north of Parker Avenue, and obviously Academy. That's the biggest one, number 1. And parents can drop their children off there. It's going to be temporarily one way. So we're going to work with police, and I think we're going to set up a meeting either late next week or the following week, right before school, to talk about how this is going to be implemented. You know, in terms of barricades, how many officers are required. It could be a collaborative effort even with the school. You know, but we're going to set up a meeting with them and make sure that everybody's on the same page. So this is the handout. I think the school is going to probably give some type of description on what this is. They're going to send it to the parents. I don't believe we're sending it to them. I think the school is. You know, and perhaps we should consider providing a phone number. I'll offer mine if anybody has any questions in terms of the drop off.
Can I ask a question about this map?
Deborah, go ahead, Deborah.
The one, this is the first time I'm seeing this. The one that's on between Beach and Parker, to me, it looks like that's the only block you can drop off. But we discussed also being able to drop off between Sherman and Beach, I thought, so people can escape up Beach Street. That was the purpose of making Beach one way up to Prospect versus having to go to the corner.
Yes, that's where the green line goes all the way to Sherman.
to Sherman.
When I'm looking at this, the one, I don't know if you need another. It just doesn't look necessarily like,
You mean this number one here?
yeah, just the placement of it. It doesn't necessarily look like you can drop off along that whole section of Academy. I'm just,
So another one over here.
yeah,
Yeah, we could do that.
something. We're moving the placement of the one or putting arrows next to it or something. So that you
Yeah.
can. Another thing just about the communications, actually, we're supposed to be taking the lead on the communications and writing up the blurb and working with the communications director, and the school district is waiting for us to send them the information. I definitely think we need to get it to them before their August board meeting so that the superintendent can talk about it in his update. They're already sending communications out to parents, so I think that the earliest we get it to them so that it can be included in Mr. Sanchez's emails, because those are already coming, and as well as the school district emails, so that we can just keep getting the message out there over and over and over again. And school starts in less than 3 weeks. So people are already, parents are already ramping up. So I do think it's important. And as I mentioned, the PD and Cindy are working on communications about school starting in general. And so I do think that a little quick blurb of this also needs to be included in that. And so I just think we need to, move more quickly than like the end of next week.
Yeah, I think
So-
Cindy is looking for a revised map. So Paul, let's, two things, Paul. Where it says Fielding School, school district offices, I don't think we need to say Fielding School. It can just say district offices there. And then I think put the number one on the other side, on the top side of that, so that people understand the one is the whole strip there.
Okay,
And if I can add, this went to South Orange, their police department reviewed and approved it, so we're good on that end. And our communications manager is well aware of all this going on and is ready to, has already started to get language together.
so Cindy's drafting the communications then?
Yep,
Yes.
and we'll provide that to the school district, and that way everything is uniform.
So
Okay.
all she needs is the map.
We'll send it today.
And
Okay.
I'll give it to Julie in South Orange as well. They can be.
Yeah. All right, so Paul, in the interim, so we're not, we don't have bollards or anything. Do we have cones to put out here? Do we have sufficient cones?
We're gonna make sure that we have sufficient cones. It's gonna be a little trial and error. I think we're gonna bring out what we think is necessary. It might be, 50 or 100 cones, and maybe more. And
I think more.
And we're
Should-
gonna,
I mean, shouldn't we buy some more cones? This is gonna have to be here for months, these cones.
yeah, we could buy cones, but we actually have a pretty large inventory
Okay.
of cones.
So is there any utility in putting the cones out now so people see that there's no parking coming up? Or, let's say, what is today, 13? Well, what are we talking about? Less than 3 weeks till school?
I would get the communication out first so that people are
All right.
aware, otherwise it'll be a surprise to them. And then once it goes out, then yes, I think we could do it before school starts. just
Yeah,
to get
let's
people
do it the
involved.
week before at least, so that people see the cones and understand that there's no parking. And you're gonna cone both sides of Parker, both the
Correct.
school side and the other side.
Yes,
I
Um,
have a question on that. The week leading up to school is Labor Day weekend, so I just don't know this holiday
oh,
schedule.
the whole week of the 25th of August.
Yeah.
Let's just put it out there on the 25th.
And then are we going to pull them away for the weekend or leave them for the weekend?
No, they're gonna be left out there the whole time. They're gonna be left out there now for the whole time
Yeah.
correct.
until the
So Labor
bollards
Day
come.
weekend is not one of the holidays that we would be using as when we allow parking. I guess that's my question.
No. And the bike lanes aren't even in effect yet, so. So with, on the coordination meeting with the police, Patrick, do we have one officer or one, superior officer that's in charge of this? I know, traffic has been shared by, with a couple of, lieutenants.
Yeah, I'm not sure who the chief's gonna want to put on this, if it's traffic or if it's the officers who work around the high school, but I'll talk to him and we'll make sure we have one point person.
Okay, so, because we've had some problems with the middle school plan, is that depending on who the sergeant is and who's actually assigned it, sometimes things break down. So we really need to have a very tight operations plan for this?
Yeah, well, we're gonna have a meeting with PD, engineering, DPW to figure out, like, on the day of exactly what's happening and what sequence, what timing. We can
Okay.
write out an order, and then that order can be relied on by whoever is the watch commander for all the days that this is being.
Okay. And we'll touch base again tonight at public safety, but yes.
Yes.
Just want to impress upon them that it's got to be consistent enforcement and assignments.
It'll be a written plan. Yep.
Remember the plan here is this is going to operate for 6 weeks. We'll be making adjustments during that 6 weeks with the hope that by Halloween, we'll have something in place permanently.
Agreed.
Okay. And is there any utility in having a public information Zoom meeting just for people to know?
Why don't we offer it to the school? I'm happy to have that meeting and see if they, think it's a good idea with the parents.
I think maybe we can ask the PTA if they think that that would be a good idea versus the school. I'm not sure.
Well, do you want to do that, Deborah?
Yeah, I'll ask the PTA president what they think, and also ask them
And it's not just for
whatever it's called.
what we're hearing is not so much from school parents, we're hearing from the residents. So this gives us an opportunity to just have a quick meeting to show what's going on, like the week before.
And we may want to flyer the streets that will be temporarily blocked off. So
That's a good idea too.
yeah, Beach, North Terrace, Kensington Terrace. South Orange asked us if we would flyer for any of their streets affected as well. So Sherman Place and Hickson Place.
Yeah, and South Orange should do that. We should give them the flyers.
We'll coordinate with South Orange.
Yes, exactly.
I'm open to, I like the idea of giving a forum for the community. I get a little worried that last week of August, people are like, oh, but you're burying this in the last week of August, we're all on vacation. So is there?
Yeah, that's life, Deborah. It's
No,
life.
I know. No, I know. I'm just saying, could you maybe do like a quick video about just showing this map and speaking it, and then we can have a video of it so people can see it as well? Or if you do it like something so that people can see without having to attend a meeting on the last week of August. If they're on vacation.
Well, we're gonna put this on a website. We can push our social medias to direct people there.
Yeah, but I think it might be good for you to get on camera with Cindy, showing it, talking through it, and then having that content, because I think you speak about it well, and I think it gives clarity that a flat map can't give clarity to. That'd be my recommendation.
Have Cindy call me.
I will.
All right. Okay. The other, I think one of the most important things we want to keep emphasizing is that this is 1 hour in the morning and 1 hour in the afternoon, and other times we don't have these restrictions. So it's a limited time. All right. Anything else on this?
Well, just the last thing is we got an email from a Beach Street resident, I think, asking about types of barriers that we're going to be using. And she was asking, I think, about the A-frame ones versus, so I just wanted to have a conversation about that, about what we're actually using and what's going to be left.
What is the plan, Paul? Because I know the mayor is also very concerned about the types of thing we're leaving there overnight and stuff like that.
Well, on a temporary basis, you're talking about in front of the high school?
No, on the streets. She was concerned about using the Jersey barricades as opposed to just the A-frame barricades.
Well, I mean, the police enjoy using the collapsible A-frame barricades, and for good reason. I think they're visible and they're lightweight, and they could also be thrown in a truck if the homeowner, has a problem with us storing it on the side of the road. So,
They don't do that. They won't put them in the trunk.
well, it's something.
They're just gonna be scattered all over town for 9 months of the year. It'll look great.
DPW can look at that, and we can consider, options if that's what the town wants. We can implement.
Okay, so I think we're talking about the collapsible barricades, Deborah, not the Jersey barricades. Paul, just
we're gonna have those signs like we started with MMS, right? That'll have on those barricades. Just
do not enter and no left turns, all that kind of stuff.
The New Jersey barricades are very heavy, even when they're not filled with water,
Correct.
and they're clumsy.
The other thing, Paul, is I think in your planning and in your coordination with the police, I think there should be a DPW crew stationed there the first couple weeks, just in that area during this time to help move barricades, cones, anything that comes up. And one other thing that, and then this is just, oftentimes the officers park their cars in spots that we don't allow parking. And we should just coordinate that when the officers come with their cars, they should park in an area which is legal. And I know it has to be close, but people wonder why the officers' cars there and they can't park their cars there.
The police do have, I believe, a pickup truck, and maybe it makes sense to send the officer out using their pickup truck. And they might be able to just throw the barricades, the collapsible ones, in the back of the pickup. That might be the
Okay.
simplest thing. But,
Right.
if that's not possible, then DPW will be available to do that.
Okay. Anything else on this? All right, we're gonna move to in the DEP newsletter we received, there's Natural Climate Solutions grants. Paul, I think this might be an opportunity to get some money for urban forestry. It might be a bit of a stretch, but I think some other suburban towns have gotten this money. If you take a look at it, there was a previous round of grants. But I'm thinking of the east side of town, our intensive tree planting program. So if you could take a look at this, it's a rolling application.
Yeah, thank you. I saw street trees in there, so I think that certainly piqued my interest, and
Yeah,
we'll check it out. Do you know offhand when this is due?
it's just rolling. So
Oh.
it's just an open application. When, as they come in, they get dealt with. And
Okay,
this is money that's not contingent on anything. It's some fine money that the DEP has. So there's actual money down there.
we'll certainly take a look at it.
Okay. On the parking, we've dealt with the scooters. You've given us a memo on the Salter Place.
Mhm.
So we're good with that. I'll put that on the agenda for the township committee. If we agree, then we'll have our attorney write up the ordinance to add that to, or write up, the revision to the ordinance to add Salter.
We have a draft of that ordinance too. I don't know if that was circulated.
I don't think I need that. Just the memo works. And then we'll put it on for discussion, and then we'll put it on for introduction.
Okay.
We did receive the issue from Colgate Road about the parking. Have you had a chance to take a look at that, Paul, as far as adding that to 5-foot lanes, 5-foot parking?
Was that Colgate or was that Cottage Court?
No, Colgate.
But is the parking on Colgate a new thing because of the construction and no parking on Springfield Avenue? Like, is this a temporary?
It might be. It might be.
But to me, it just feels like you can't park on Springfield Avenue right now, and so people are parking on the side streets. So I
All
think
right,
maybe
so
after the construction is done.
I have not looked at Colgate. We've looked at Cottage Court, and we've been making rounds of visits there to check cars, but I haven't looked at Colgate.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll coordinate. You sent me this email, so I'll coordinate this with you, Paul.
But
Okay.
I think that we should look at it we should just.
Yes, I understand, Deborah. I understand. It could be impacted by the construction. And the other thing is on 44th Street. We had concerns about speeding there, but also Paul, the rain garden there, are we maintaining that?
We typically de-weed it in the spring, but it should be maintained on a quarterly basis at a minimum. And if it's not in good order, we'll make sure it's maintained.
Yeah, I mean, stuff gets, garbage gets trapped in there.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to have that taken look. That's been, we have a particular problem there of people dropping stuff, putting garbage there.
Yeah.
Also, would you take a look to see if we have 25-mile-an-hour signs on that street?
I actually,
Particularly, particularly as you come off of Chancellor.
yes, we'll check that. I think that's a very good recommendation, the speed limit signs.
Okay. All right. The evaluation of the playing fields. I believe you had some conversations with the field committee, and Mike Haran was going to be doing some investigation whether we have a firm that can do this. Is
In
this
terms of
Al?
maintaining the fields?
No, this is to evaluate the fields. Are you not aware of this? Is my information wrong?
Well, I did attend the committee, the All Access Committee, and that was a very interesting meeting. And access
No,
to,
this is a fields committee. This is a different group. Patrick, are you aware of any of this?
Yeah, and Paul's aware that there's an interest in bringing in an outside consultant to look at those
Right.
fields. I think that's what you're discussing. Paul, we had an email chain a few weeks ago with Miss Herman and Miss Mancuso about this. I think Mike Haran was on that as well. So
Mhm.
I know that, the township shares the interest of the township committee, and, that I think that we're gonna look to get quotes for that work.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
So you're on this, Patrick?
I think Mike Haran is on this. But
Okay, and Mike's
we'll all be sure to loop Paul and Mike Haran together and make sure we all have the same information.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
All right. Paul, public buildings.
So we do have an update on the SEPI grant. We did get documents from them for the grant agreement. I think that was circulated yesterday, Pat. So we just need to coordinate with that and get them back to the BPU. So I'll call you.
Did you say you received the bids or you did not receive the bids?
Not bids. This is the actual grant agreement
Oh, okay.
through the BPU. So
Man, this is taking forever.
it is, and well, I'll have an offline conversation with you later. Town Hall, the greenhouse, the main extension is actually starting now. They're saw cutting the pavement today. It'll still be drivable, but they're looking to start excavation as early as tomorrow or Friday. They're looking to start the project. Now, our goal is to try to get that done in a way where they could backfill and install the pipe and minimize disruption to the parking lot. So Pat will be, Mr. Weary will be talking more about that. We'll coordinate that at town hall. But I think the good news is they're starting the work, so that's good.
I can hear the saw cutting now if you listen close. Out there.
I did not hear it. My ears aren't that cute. The Woodland, the door is still under construction. Alden Bailey's doing that work. They were having some problems with some of the trim work on the door, as I understand it, but hopefully in the next week or two, we'll get the door. We have been following up with Margaret and also Alden Bailey. They're sometimes difficult to get a hold of. The Woodland, I'm sorry, Bergdorf, I think we want to schedule some type of walkthrough to decide what type of alterations we should keep. That I'm happy to have that walkthrough and do that meeting.
So Paul, with that, I just want to make sure, I think that I saw the picture last night of the new stage. Just want to make sure that we are bringing in the stakeholders of the Bergdorf, the strollers and the other theater group as we make decisions whether to keep that stage or go back to a different type stage, that we're, everybody's involved in that conversation.
We do have a PE that's signed off on the stage. Visually, it's an attractive stage. I've seen it, and that's something that, of course, we should have sign off by everybody on that.
And that's something that Miriam is handling. And not just for that, but like even outside, there's a whole host of things that we may or may not want to accept from the, improvements that were made by the film company, and all of those, the ones that are relevant, we're discussing with strollers and Interact.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
In terms of 1978 in the senior center, I don't have any updates at this time. The libraries, the main library, we did get the EV charger functional. It was pinpointed and it was authorized and it's functional right now. It's got a green light so people can use it. The Civic House, we're working on preparing drawings to go out to public bid. We're trying to also line up a proper suitable architect who can administer the project. And we're putting that RFP, I saw a draft of it yesterday. We're getting that out the door. In terms of the firehouses, Joe Gates is finalizing his design for the work at the Boyden Avenue Firehouse. I will note that, I think I mentioned this before, but we did do a substantial amount of electric work and we have upgraded the HVAC at the Boyden Ave Firehouse as well. Moving on to parks, I have nothing on the pool. D Hart, I will say that the status of the design, they're moving forward at a pretty rapid pace. We've had conversations on the drainage. I know, Mr. DeLuca, we've talked about keeping those 48 inches, but we took a closer look with VHB on that, and I think it's in our best interest to remove them.
Okay.
And we're going to end up changing the design. The entirety of the field is going to have drainage, and we're going to ensure that we're reducing the volumes even further towards Newark. So Newark Way, that's really one of our prime focus points, is to make sure that there's no impacts.
So just a reminder again that we have no, other than the design money, we haven't bonded any money for construction. So we had planned to do that in the latter part of this year. So it just becomes a timing issue. We just gotta need time to get the design work, put numbers on that, and get a bond ordinance, in front of the township committee.
Understood. And we're actually getting an estimate within the next week or so from VHB. They're at a point now where they could give us a pretty close cost estimate for the field and the drainage.
It's possible that we may need some small amount of money for the all-inclusive playgrounds. And we would ask the township committee to consider that at the same time as D Hart Parks. We want to make sure that we, line those schedules up as well.
Right. And we want, Patrick, I'm correct, we want to do this in 2025, so we have money in 2026 to move forward as quickly as possible, right?
Yes.
Okay, how about roads? You want to talk about roads, Deborah?
A question about the timing. I'm just thinking, we have the Board of School Estimate meeting coming up for about Ritzer Field, and I think that they're planning on construction next summer. And I'm just thinking about the construction of DeHart Park, and I know we brought this up years ago when we were talking about it, but I just want to make sure that not everything's being done at the same time. I don't know. I just think we need a coordination and just consider that is happening as well.
Yeah, but our field is not going to be available in 2026. D Hart.
It's not available in 2026 at all.
Between the construction and then it has to just grow. Rest.
And everyone knows that?
Everyone? That's a big number.
I don't know.
Yes,
like, I'm just thinking Mitzi Mancuso's user group and all the people.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. Yes.
And then I would just be curious, when you get the estimated numbers, I'm just curious about like what the cost of drainage is that they're estimated for DeHart, as we look at those numbers that the school district is giving us for Ritzer.
We should have that breakdown in the next week or so. I don't know if it's going to be apples to apples, because our design may be different. We have a finger drain design, which goes to manifolds, larger manifold pipes, which, drains into larger pipes. So it might be different than the field at Ritzer, but, we'll certainly share our numbers for consideration. Mayor, I just want to interject one thing. You asked about Maple Crest lights, and the repairs are scheduled for the 21st. So that's what I found out. So it's coming up. Okay, moving on. So roads, we have the road program that is currently under construction. A good part of the concrete work and flat work's been done. And I don't know if you've noticed Walton and Maplewood Ave, but the bump outs were installed. I don't know if anyone's had a chance to look at that, but I think it came out pretty good. And it's, after observing it, it seems to be functioning well. There may be some additional drainage work. I think on Oakview, there was some drainage we're interested in getting done. So Portofino, the subcontractor, had to leave for a few weeks, but we're hoping that they can come back. In terms of paving, we're going to work out that schedule with the contractor. But we're hopeful to get at least the roads affected in front of the school. We'd like to get them done before school starts, if that's possible. Community Development Block Grant work is starting next week as well. We have ramp work in front of the high school. One thing that we did because of the bike lanes, we realized that there's going to be rapid flashing beacons at North Terrace and Kensington. So we made sure that the design and construction can accommodate that. So we're not ripping out ramps a second time and redoing them. So, we've been working with the design engineer, Cameron, and of Roberts Engineering, and he's provided us a revised design, and that's what the contractor is going to use. Safe routes to schools, the preliminary work is still underway. There's a few vouchers we have to process. I'm going to work with Roseanne on that. That's going to be one of my focuses this week. It's pretty involved to get reimbursement, the vouchers out, but the work is proceeding forward, and it's all preliminary work. It's all funded, by the way, also from the state. In terms of traffic calming, I'm sorry, I skipped. Smoke testing. We did have Mott McDonald complete their report, and I think we've circulated that.
No, you haven't, but here are the recommendations, Paul.
Okay.
We did find some infiltration, correct?
We found a number of sources of infiltration. I was really blown away by this study. I think it was very successful. We found inlets that were, instead of piped to a stormwater collection system, it was piped to the sanitary line. We found manholes that were, had venting on top that was infiltrating water. So those structures we're going to try to get changed out with the road program.
Right. And then we had a couple of homes that we may have found prohibited connections. We had some holes in the road. So how are we moving forward with these recommendations, Paul?
So Mr. Barry and I were talking about that just the other day, and like I said, I think in the manhole castings, that's an easy one. We're going to get done with the road program as an extra, and I think the drainage inlets themselves, that is, we're going to have extra money left over in the utility to use that money because the repairs on St. Lawrence were less than we anticipated. So, we can use the utility for that purpose of reconnecting those pipes to the proper stormwater systems. And in terms of the houses, we're going to have to break that down. That may be, a building department code enforcement issue,
right,
that we work out with Darius.
Okay. The stormwater utility, Patrick, where are we with the billing and all that?
Going out this week, all the bills are printed. They will be picked up today and mailed. The due date on them is August 25th, and then we have a 30-day grace period. So they have until the end of September to pay. We are also sending with the bills letters to the higher paying rate payers. We'd wanted to send that out in advance. Unfortunately, we just confirmed our list and we don't want to hold bills any longer. So those will go out to those 87 properties along with their bill. So, if you're interested, we looked at properties over $500 in payment. 13 of those are the townships, 8 of those Board of Ed, 2 county parks, and then a county right away and a township right away. And then the majority of others are commercial properties. Along with the mailing, in today's email newsletter. We will include information that the billing's going out, and with more information on, here's a link to our website where you can find out more, including information on credits. That will go out today. And we will also do, we'll do some other communications around this.
So we talked about doing communications on how, the projects that we're undertaking this year. So I think that maybe after you do the communications on the bill, the next one should be, here's some examples of the projects, so that people see, they're getting the bill and they also see the benefit of this.
Yep, we can do that.
So I think we got St. Lawrence, we got, I know the Meadowbrook is coming up, right?
Mhm. We also have
Uh,
Baker Street and
Baker
Maplewood
Street, and
Ave.
then Tiffany, right?
Yes, Tiffany as well.
And then you're also talking now about making improvements to the sewer line thing,
Yes.
the smoke. So I think, there's like five good things to put in there, how we're moving forward with it.
Yep.
Okay. And mentions of all of those are in the letter to the high ratepayer, but we'll do, we've discussed this previous, so we're ready. We'll do a more detailed version of that for the whole public.
Correct. Okay.
And
All right, yes, Deborah.
the district didn't really seem to know. Remember, this came up on Monday's meeting. Didn't really seem to be aware of this at all. So I don't know, Pat, if you want to.
We have mentioned it to them a few times, but when we send out this letter, especially because they're going to get multiple bills for their properties, right? Well, each individual property gets a bill. So I'll send them a spreadsheet with a listing of everything that they're going to go. Hopefully that'll be easier for them to understand.
Yeah, maybe you can just connect
I
with
told,
the administrator so
They
that
have been aware.
I told Bang months ago about this.
Yeah, we told them. I remember.
I know, but it's not. And maybe I'm just saying, maybe you want to just call the business administrator and be like, by the way,
For sure.
You know, and when you change Ritzer, by the way, just so that they can plan accordingly.
Okay. Maple Terrace, Paul.
So really, two things are going on with Maple Terrace right now. So Miss Credidio is our township attorney. She's working with the property owner's attorney on easements. I think they're trying to work that out. The other thing we have is mitigation. So unfortunately, Fred Scherer, he's reached out to DEP numerous times, to the person who's handling this, and we're fighting over 0.041 acres of wetlands. I mean, it's such a minuscule amount of area, and I just can't believe that this project's being held up for that. So
How big is that in like feet? How big is that area? Like
it's about 1,800 square feet or slightly less.
Okay.
That's how small it is of wetland disturbance. So, Mr. Wary, we may be, I think you and I should talk with Fred and come up with a plan on how to address this.
And Mayor, if you could, talk with Mr. Pittner and Mr. Wary about, and reach out to the governor's office again. It's just this one thing.
Yep.
All right.
I know. I will do that. But I'd like to meet with Fred and Pat and Paul, so I know more specifics of what I'm talking about.
Okay. All right. Traffic calming, Paul.
I don't. Well, let me say this: we have a bid out. It actually opens today, I believe. That's the traffic calming bid package which is primarily Boyden Avenue, and it's also the Newark bump out at Dehart Park. So that's being opened today, and there's other traffic calming considerations such as the rapid flashing beacons at North Terrace and Kensington. We were, planning on using the traffic calming budget monies for that. So, that's it with traffic calming. Mr. Redmond, Mr. Berry, do you have any other comments on traffic calming?
Just for the traffic calming at various locations that's opening today, it's going to include the entire striping of Boyden Avenue. So that's going to be a large undertaking, but it's going to be worth it. It really needs some help over there. And Jefferson is also going to be restriped as part of that package, and like Paul said, Newark Way, the Hart Crosswalk, is also going to be constructed as part of that project. So, a lot of good things happening in that bid package.
We're excited to do it.
Thank you.
Moving on, recycling and waste. I'm sorry, Ms. Berry, do you have any comments?
Not for the traffic calming project, no.
Okay, thank you. Recycling and waste. We've awarded the collection to F. Basso. He's won the contract for years, and we rewrote the specs, put it out to bid, and that's who was the lowest bidder, and he's considered a responsible bidder. So the package was complete. The township awarded that to him. There was a fairly substantial increase in cost for the collection, and that seems to be a sign of the times. So,
How much more? I saw the numbers, but can you illuminate that for the
it was a little over $100,000 increase, Mayor, from what we were paying.
year?
But the second lowest bidder was almost, it was like 50% higher. So it was even more extraordinary.
I'm just surprised we got more than one bid.
I think we got that other bidder before. It's one of those who doesn't really want it, and so they'll say, if you'll pay us millions of dollars, we'll do it.
Yeah, I think in the past, I don't know if it's I don't recall if it's the marketing or the collection, but I recall that bidder also bid, but they weren't competitive, so.
Right.
Okay. Next up is Jitney. So Mike Horan provided me with statistics of ridership. So roughly the first 6 months of this year, we've provided about 35,000 rides. It comes out to about 120 in the morning, 120 in the evening. Those are riders, individual riders. I provided, getting from the clerk's office, the amount of money we've raised from selling commuter parking permits, Jitney passes, and Jitney pass and parking combos. So the total fees are roughly about $244,000. I did then took a look at our budget. Let me pull that up. Our budget for this year is $296,000 to run the jitneys. And that is an increase of about 12% over the last 2 years in our budget to budget. Our fares are bringing in about 15%. Our jitney fares are bringing in about 15%. A combo is about 20%. So we're bringing in about 35% of the cost of the jitneys by combining the jitney passes and the combo pass revenues. The sort of standard in public transportation is to have a fare box that brings in somewhere between 35 and 40%. I think transit is about 30, New Jersey Transit is about 35%. But we did talk about increasing the fees. Our costs go up every year. And right now, the jitney fee is $150 a year. The combo fee, which allows someone to park or take the jitney, is $330. And the parking fee is $360. We've always tried to keep the jitney fee about half of the parking fee so that it encourages people to do the jitney as opposed to parking. I think we all agree that parking is the one thing that we would hope to discourage because it's just, a land, it's just not a good use of land to have single occupants driving to the train to park. So the more people we can get to ride the jitney, either full-time or part-time, the better. So I don't think we should make any decisions today, but this is information that we can think about more and discuss at our next meeting. Deborah?
Vic, what? Oh, sorry. I can't see, just so you
Yeah,
know.
let's Deborah and then you, Mayor.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Go ahead.
Well, since you're bringing up the jitney, I'm just going to voice my thoughts that we should be expanding jitney ridership by opening it up to people beyond commuters. So I'm just going to note that right here. And I appreciate Paul and Pat sitting down with me last month to kind of talk about the challenges. And my youth advisory committee, once they're back for the summer, is going to like work on this. But I think that besides raising fees, the other ways to raise revenues is by adding riders. And I do think, to your point, we don't want to encourage parking. We want to discourage it by allowing people to ride the jitney. But it's not only just because of parking. It's better for traffic. It's better for the environment. So just being able to move people around our town through public transportation as well as the bike lanes is a net positive for Maplewood. So I just felt like this was a good time to mention that again.
Nancy?
We haven't raised the jitney or the parking fees in several years, to my recollection.
Correct,
unless
yes.
I'm wrong.
Correct.
I think we've always been underpriced compared to other commuter towns as to how much we charge for parking. We charge a fraction of what other towns charge. So I would be in favor of increasing both. And I think we should lean into more of a 40% cover than a 35% or more for the jitney riders. So that's just my 2 cents. I think we need to consider that as we go into the year for next year.
Okay, well, it'll come up again. I'll put this stuff together one more time and we'll bring it up for discussion again. Hopefully we won't have all these other issues. We won't have all these other issues of Springfield Avenue and other stuff to take up on our meeting time.
Yeah, I agree. We don't need to have an increase in jitney or commuter parking fees coincide with the budget. We can do that. They're annual, so it would be, and they're sold in like January, February?
Oh, yeah, no, we would have to do this in, we'd probably have to pass an ordinance in November.
Yeah, okay. Fair, okay.
Okay, any old business? Any new business? Paul, any surprises?
We don't like surprises. I'll just note that the GIS, we did open up bids for the update of our GIS mapping that's required by the state. As I think I've reported this before, the state's expanding what we have to show on for our MS4 submissions. And we're in the process of reviewing those bids right now. So the pricing seems to be in line with what we budgeted. And, we're going to go through them, carefully, I should say.
And just to we inform you, we talked about this the last meeting. The historic preservation element of the master plan is being given a final look over by Historic Preservation Commission. It's going to go to the planning board in September and the township committee for its information. And we hope to have all that wrapped up by September 30th. And the environmental resource inventory, we went out to get quotes. I think we received 8 quotes. We're looking at those now to hire a consultant to start that. And that'll also be another part of, that was a recommendation of the master plan to complete. So we're moving forward on that too. Anything else? All right, so if not, we will adjourn and we will meet again on September 10th. Thank you, everybody.
Thank
Good
you.
day.